Welcome back to Second Floor Basement, the best source for anime summaries and recaps. Hit subscribe and join the legion of anime aficionados and otakus riding the wave. Get ready for a wild ride with the Eminence in Shadow Season 2. Shadow Garden informs Cid that large amounts of money have been flowing to Lawless City, a crime-infested slum that belongs to no kingdom. This coincides with the red moon heralding the return of the vampiric Elisabeth, the Crimson Blood Queen, one of Lawless City's 3 rulers. Cid decides to investigate since he was going to Lawless City anyway. Goldie and Quentin approach Elisabeth's tower and are confronted by White Devil, a notorious murderer enslaved as Elisabeth's guard dog. Cid is shown visiting Lawless City with Claire, who had been sent by the Dark Knight Association to slay vampires, and dragged Cid with her. They pass Goldie and Quentin, beaten and sold to a slaver. The city's vampires send their ghoul servants to destroy the city. Cid is saved by Mary, the ancient vampire hunter, and is excited to meet the newest character in his role-playing game. Skell and Puh are also attacked by ghouls, having visited the city hoping to lose their virginities to prostitutes. As Shadow, Cid saves a prostitute named Marie. Claire encounters Mary and, after some confusion regarding Cid's description, believes he was taken as a sacrifice to awaken Elisabeth. Cid rescues the surviving Dark Knights, the rest having deserted from fear of the ghouls. The city's other rulers, Yukime the White Fox Spirit and Juggernaut the Black Tyrant, attack each other but are interrupted by Cid. Juggernaut and Yukime ignore Cid to break into Elisabeth's tower. White Devil attacks Cid but is cut to pieces. Beta encounters Claire and Mary and reveals Shadow Garden intends to steal Elisabeth's blood for research. Soldier 666 panics to hear of Cid's supposed kidnapping and is reprimanded by Beta. Juggernaut almost kills Mary, who kisses Claire to drink her blood, healing herself. Claire realizes Mary is a vampire. Cid drops Juggernaut off the tower, making Claire confused as to why Shadow would save them. Mary reveals 1,000 years ago, Queen Elisabeth sought peace by helping vampires give up drinking blood. This enabled vampires to walk in the sun and build a community alongside humans she called the Haven. As a progenitor vampire, Queen Elisabeth's desire for blood never diminished, and during the Red Moon 1,000 years ago she went mad and slaughtered everyone in Haven. Filled with remorse, she committed suicide, but before Mary could hide her body, it was stolen by Lord Crimson, who has secretly ruled from Elisabeth's throne ever since. Feeling sympathy, Claire reveals she is possessed by a demon and is desperate to help Cid achieve greatness before she loses her humanity. Cid plunders Crimson's treasury for retirement funds and decides he might as well kill Crimson to impress everyone. Crimson, in the middle of resurrecting Elisabeth to marry her, is killed before he even notices Cid is there. Claire and Mary arrive after Cid leaves, and Claire is attacked by the awakening Elisabeth. Shadow Garden rescues Claire. Even half-asleep Elisabeth is formidable, the arrival of Yukime and Juggernaut not slowing her down. Elisabeth takes control of the demon blood dormant in all Shadow Garden. Claire, possessing higher amounts of demon blood, goes berserk. She awakens in a dream world where Aurora the Calamity, which explains that despite Shadow curing her demonic possession years ago, the remaining demon blood continues to evolve into something yet unknown. Aurora takes possession of Claire and attempts to use Cid's atomic spell against Queen Elisabeth, but fails as Claire's body can't handle the power. Aurora disappears just as Cid appears and battles Queen Elisabeth. Beta is overjoyed Cid protects them, not realizing he is actually protecting the coins he dropped during his dramatic arrival. Impressed, Elisabeth asks his name. Rather than answer, Cid detonates his recovery atomic, returning the ghouls in the city to humans, healing the injured, and knocking Elisabeth unconscious. The crisis is over, everyone returns home. Claire is determined to master her blood, and Cid promises to always support her, for which she is grateful. She also can't help feeling she knows Shadow from somewhere. Cid is disappointed he only rescued 500 gold coins, but reasons if he ever needs more he can just return to Lawless City to steal more. Later, Cid meets Yukime in secret. Garter, president of Major Corporate Alliance, MCA, who controls trade in Midgar via organized crime, goes to war with Mitsugoshi, a Shadow Garden fashion company. Alpha hopes killing Garter's thugs will force cultists within MCA to reveal themselves. Cid deduces Shadow Garden owns Mitsugoshi and makes new enemies without telling him. Believing Shadow Garden may be going too far, Cid arranges the secret meeting with Yukime to discuss putting Mitsugoshi and Garter out of business as a warning to Shadow Garden, whilst making vast profits for himself and Yukime. Yukime warns Cid of Garter's boss, Devil Swordsman Getan, whom Yukime wants to kill personally. Cid discovers MCA and Mitsugoshi own competing banks, so he proposes they counterfeit a fortune in fake bills. Yukime knows this would destroy public trust in banknotes and cause a bank run of people withdrawing their gold, destroying both banks and allowing Cid and Yukime to make even more profits. She congratulates Cid for knowing this. In reality, Cid is completely confused, but bluffs his way through. Delta visits Cid whilst hunting MCA thugs. Getan sends his assassins the 4 Clovers to attack Mitsugoshi. One Clover is Zabra, Delta's brother. She kills him anyway since she has over 1,000 additional siblings. Cid is fascinated by Therianthrope society and considers visiting Delta's clan until she enthusiastically demands he kill her father, become chief, and have strong babies with every female. Getan begins to understand why his cultist allies warned him Mitsugoshi was dangerous. The Clovers are sent to Mitsugoshi to kill the CEO Luna, Gamma's public alias, but the clumsy Gamma insists on dealing with them herself. Gamma turns out to have unusually high amounts of magic and is resistant to physical damage, so while her combat abilities are below even an amateur, she bulldozes her way through the fight, killing the leader Cloverleaf One. Getan decides to act himself, determined to attain the power needed for revenge on the boy who scarred his face years ago, Stylish Bandit Slayer, aka the younger Cid. Yukime prints millions of fake banknotes and feeds them into the economy via Lawless City. She reveals to Cid that Getan killed her family. Alpha discovers the counterfeit money and orders Shadow Garden to investigate the source. Getan discovers this as well and is angered as he had the same counterfeiting idea to cause a bank run, but it was not supposed to happen until he had bled the economy of all its gold for the cult. Should a bank run occur now, the gold will be returned to the citizens and impossible for the cult to retrieve. While investigating the carriages from the Lawless City, number 666 falls into a trap set by Cid, aka John Smith, who cryptically warns her it is too early for Shadow Garden to discover the truth. Unaware it was Cid, number 666 cannot believe she lost another fight and curses her own weakness. Alpha sends Delta to hunt John Smith, but Delta realizes John Smith is Cid from his scent. Cid claims he is undercover and then temporarily gets rid of Delta by sending her to hunt Juggernaut. Delta's absence causes Alpha to assume John Smith killed her. Alpha and Getan independently realize John Smith is planning a bank run. Beta tries to report the financial crisis to Cid and mistakenly believes it angers him. Really, Cid is just baffled by her financial jargon. Beta is relieved when Cid assures her Delta is alive. Alpha attempts to assassinate John Smith, but realizes he is none other than her savior and master. Confused that Cid has been working to undermine his own organization, Alpha nonetheless fights to prove she can still be of use to his secret plans. Cid defeats her and announces he is temporarily leaving Shadow Garden until his plans are complete, leaving Alpha heartbroken. Yukime finishes swapping fake notes for gold from both banks, leaving them bankrupt. Yukime reveals to Cid, Getan was once her fiancé to secure an alliance between her Fox clan and his Wolf clan. Getan's desire for power drove him to join the cult, and when the Foxes refused to follow him, he killed them all and left Yukime half dead. Alone, she spent years accumulating enough power to rule 1/3 of Lawless City. Now, thanks to Cid, the MCA is nearing collapse and Getan is finally vulnerable enough for her to personally confront him. Evidence surfaces that Getan had made his own fake banknotes for the cult to undermine Mitsugoshi, giving Alpha hope Cid only created his fake banknotes to undermine the cult first. This is confirmed by a coded letter from Cid explaining his motives and the location of the gold, which Alpha retrieves for Shadow Garden. Delta returns. Cid is relieved everything worked out, but is then stunned to find the gold gone, having never imagined Shadow Garden would decode his dramatic coded letter, and mistakenly decides Gittan has stolen his gold. Yukime defeats Gittan in a duel but lets him live. Gittan swallows a demonic pill and stabs Yukime in the back, but is defeated by John Smith searching for his gold, though his poor word choice makes it sound like he loves Yukime. Gittan recognizes him as Stylish Bandit Slayer, who scarred his face the night he killed Yukime's family, causing Yukime to realize it was Stylish Bandit Slayer aka Young Cid, who unintentionally saved her life that night, so she falls in love with him. Before dying, Gittan entrusts Yukime to John Smith. Alpha reveals Shadow Garden to Yukime and proposes an alliance which Yukime accepts to be close to Cid. Cid, having misunderstood Gittan's last words, spends weeks digging the field where Gittan died looking for the gold, assisted by Delta. In the end, Cid quits digging and decides to disappear for a while until Shadow Garden are less upset by his betrayal. After he vanishes, Delta accidentally digs up something of value. Skell and Pa break into Cid's room and steal 6 tickets to a Mitsugoshi Hot Springs resort. Unfortunately, as the tickets were personal gifts to Cid, Shadow Garden interrogates Skell and Pa and mistakenly concludes Cid has invited Skell, Pa, and 3 of the shadows to the hot springs for a mission posing as 3 romantic couples. Eda, having built the resort after hearing a story from Cid of a legendary dragon and a princess, concludes there is a secret meaning to the story. The 3 shadows chosen for the couples are Beta, Zeta, and Delta, while the other shadows attend as normal guests. Terrified, Skell and Pa lie by claiming Cid is running late and will join them later. After some time, the girls start to wonder if the mission was just Cid's way of giving everyone a holiday. Skell and Pa are caught spying and punished, but their tears cause a magical reaction in the spring water. As the original dragon legend called for, Princess Tyr Ada torments Beta, a self-proclaimed elven princess, until she cries, turning the spring water into a dragon. The shadows defeat the dragon and Ada confirms the hot spring now possesses magic that promotes health and beauty. Alpha is convinced Cid sent them to free the tormented soul of the dragon from the story and have a little fun along the way. Skell and Pa return home still determined to one day lose their virginities. Cid stays at an inn owned by Marie, the former prostitute from Lawless City. 666, 665, and 664 meet 559 to spy on supporters of Perv Assad. They witness Queen Reyna, 660 SIX's mother, use her royal blood to open a chamber and reveal the Ring of Succession, which is taken by cult officer Quadoi. 559 tries to assassinate Reyna, but 666 stops her. 559 declares 666 a traitor and attacks Quadoi. 666 returns to Oriana with Reyna and resumes her old life as Rose. Cid mistakenly believes Rose was always plotting to become queen after killing her father and decides to wait until she becomes a tyrant so he can heroically defeat her. Perv soldiers extort Marie for fake taxes, so Cid secretly kills them and takes their gold, which, as Lord Shadow, he gives to Marie. Marie is glad she doesn't have to return to prostitution and is eternally grateful to Shadow. Meanwhile, after 3 days and 3 nights of fighting Quadoi and his soldiers, 665, 664, and 559 are rescued by Cid and Quadoi is killed. 559 reports Rose's treason and loss of the ring. Cid, who wasn't actually listening, spots a newspaper announcing Rose is engaged to Perv. As this doesn't follow the Tyrant Queen scenario he hoped for, Cid loses his temper, which 559 mistakes as rage over being betrayed. Cid flies directly to Oriana to somehow make Rose want to be a tyrannical queen. Lambda, aka 11, believes she should kill Rose but relents after Cid decides to visit Rose himself. Epsilon, as famous musician Chiron, can escort Cid into the palace as her student. Perv demands Cid perform a song to prove he is Chiron's student. Cid dazzles the nobles with a performance of Moonlight Sonata while using magic to sneakily rob them of money and jewelry, including the Ring of Succession from Perv's pocket he mistakenly assumes to be Rose's ring for the wedding. Rose's maid, Margaret, attempts to lure Cid into becoming her father's personal musician in exchange for Rose's location. After escaping her, Cid enters Rose's room. Unaware, Cid from the academy is also Lord Shadow, whom she had worked for briefly. Princess Rose is glad to see Cid, whom she still loves. Despite his plea, she resumes her old dedication to the sword, hopefully restarting her journey to Tyrant Queen. She refuses and asks him to forget about her as she still intends to marry Perv. Cid later overhears Perv threatening to kill Reyna unless Rose continues to obey him. Epsilon and Lambda are confused Cid didn't punish Rose, but decides he must be preoccupied with the missing ring, which controls the weapon Black Rose that could destroy Oriana Kingdom with one attack. Perv reports to his superior Mordred he will soon control Black Rose, completely unaware the ring box in his pocket is empty. It is also revealed Perv is having an affair with a willing Queen Reyna. Shadow Garden infiltrates a cult facility seeking another relic, but finds it already gone. Cid plans to rescue Reyna for Rose, but overhears Perv and Reyna plotting to kill Rose after the wedding, also revealing the latter was working with the cult the entire time. As Shadow, Cid shows Rose that Reyna is having sex with Perv and plotting Rose's death, hoping her rage will inspire her tyrant bloodlust. Instead, she loses all hope as she believes that everything she did for her kingdom was for nothing. However, Cid, as himself, coerces Rose into deciding what she wants to do, then accidentally leaves the ring behind. Rose assumes the ring is some sort of cryptic gift. Perv reveals to gain control over the ring he must marry Rose to transfer its magic to himself, just as he discovers the ring missing, which he desperately hides from Mordred. At the wedding, Rose publicly refuses to marry Perv and puts on the ring believing it will give her powers. Instead, it unlocks a video recording of her father from before the poison broke his mind, accusing Perv of treason and conspiring with the cult, then implores the public to trust Rose as their next queen. The public cheers as Rose calls for Perv's arrest for treason against the crown, but Perv and Queen Reyna are both abruptly beheaded by Mordred, who possesses the missing relic. Its proximity to the ring allows him to activate the Black Rose and summon Archdemon Ragnarok to destroy all of Oriana. Mordred is stunned when, in his moment of victory, Cid appears as Lord Shadow and casually severs Ragnarok's arm. Ragnarok heals itself. Most of the wedding guests reveal themselves as Shadow Garden. Mordred duels Epsilon and Beta and is shocked when his legendary sword skills are exposed as nothing more than an ancient magical sword stolen from the elves. After defeating him, Mordred tells them everything. The cult is aware of alternate dimensions that orbit each other like a solar system. Every few millennia dimensions collide and temporarily fuse. This resulted in both magic and humans arriving in this dimension. Demons also come from other dimensions, and it was the cult experimenting on them that resulted in the creation of Diabolos from a human test subject. They also created Black Rose, an artificial gateway to other dimensions. Cid, bored from the uninteresting boss fight, easily kills Ragnarok. Mordred goes mad and turns demonic, so Cid kills him with an atomic explosion so large it covers the whole planet in light. Unintentionally, it collapses Black Rose, sucking Cid inside and leaving Shadow Garden dumbfounded. In Japan, now a war-torn wasteland since demons entered their dimension, Akane Nishino has matured since Cid rescued her and is now a knight known as Savior. She is kidnapped by cybernetically enhanced thugs working for one of her enemies and is almost killed, until Cid appears and rescues her, once again calling himself Lord Shadow.